Interesting to see what people have lost or forgotten in their Uber. It's Rob and Lizz in the morning, his radio. For instance, these are real things that people have left in Ubers, like a fog machine, some bowling rags. Somebody left their ankle monitor. Yeah, I think that was on purpose.
I do think
that's
that
on purpose that happened there. Unicycle, a printer, small camping stove, and funeral pamphlets left behind.
There was one. I don't know how you leave this behind. It was a toy poodle. Like, how do you leave your puppy dog behind?
You mean not the toy, not a toy poodle, the breed toy poodle.
Right, I'm pretty sure it was a toy poodle, an actual living breathing.
Crazy.
Yeah, a lightsaber.
Yeah, they called and said, listen, I left my lightsaber in the Uber. Can you bring back my lightsaber? Please just bring it back.
Yes, Luke, I will.
Small stone-carved whales have been left behind, and a cat collar that says Maui on it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that one I kind of get. Maybe you bought it.
Didn't mean to leave it in there. Now, not everybody on the planet's been on an Uber.
No.
In an Uber or in, what's the other one?
Lyft.
Yeah.
There's
Lyft.
several. Yeah.
Cab, anything like that. But it's very possible you've either lost something that somebody found for you or you found something. Like, Scott, what was it in the parking lot that you found one day?
I was at the dentist office, and I looked over. There was an envelope laying in the parking lot, and I said, that's interesting. And I walked over and looked inside, and there was a crisp new $100 bill.
Ooh, what'd you do with it?
Well, I turned the envelope over, and there was the name of one of the dentists. So I took it back.
He did the right thing.
Good. I was going, used to back in the day, I think I must have been like 18, 19 years old. I got my check cashed, and at a grocery store or whatever, I put the cash in my pocket. I mean, how dumb, right? I put it in my pocket.
There's nothing wrong with that.
A wad of like $400 in my pocket.
Okay.
Just shoved down in the front pocket.
Yes.
I start walking, and I'm with my aunt, right? The money falls out. I don't notice it.
Well, she didn't put it all the way in her pocket.
Right. She didn't realize I dropped it, and she
Her
goes,
aunt.
"Ooh, look what I found." And then I'm checking my pockets. I said, that's mine.
That's my money.
She looked at me a little bit suspicious.
You're listening to Rob and Lizz in the morning.
His radio.
It's Rob and Lizz in the morning, his radio. I don't know if you've ever lost anything and then you found it later. Some people have.
Yeah. I lost a paycheck, an entire paycheck. I don't know why it keeps happening. And I had it like in a book, and it was cash. And this has been a long time ago. Went to the grocery store. One of the bag boys turned it in. I was so thankful.
Nice.
It was my entire paycheck.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Look at that. Yeah, a whole $20.
A little more than that, but
A little
still.
more than the 20. William's here at 800-447-7234. What was it for you, William?
I was mowing my mom's yard. Had made 3 or 4 passes, and then I just heard a real strong, as something caught and was grinding something up. And I'm like, what in the world is that? And so I got off the mower and looked down there and saw what appeared to be a wallet with a bunch of stuff. And I go, oh my goodness. I reached out in my pocket, and I realized I had just chewed up my brand new wallet that I'd gotten for Christmas. All of my credit cards, well, I shouldn't say all of my 2 credit cards and my license, everything was completely chewed up.
Curious on how you handled that.
I taped up my license and then took it to the police station, the state, the DMV. And when I got there, the guy I said, hey, I'm here to replace my license. And I showed it to him. He said, sir, you are not allowed to tape your license up like this. And I go, I was just trying to put it together so you could see. He goes, absolutely not. You are not allowed to deface it. And I'm like, I just completely cut it up. It's already defaced. So anyway, just a little side story I thought I'd say. It's not losing it, but I thought it was pretty fun.
You're listening to Rob and Lizz in the morning.
His radio.
Shirley is just the cutest thing. It's Rob and Lizz in the morning, his radio.
And she's worked so hard. I mean, it's been years since she's graduated from high school. Actually, didn't graduate from high school. She left high school, had to get on with life. And then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, the kids are grown. I can do something here. So she decided to go back to get her GED. She went to a community college. She's 84 years old.
Wow, she waited a hot minute.
84 years old, and she decided this is the time I'm going to go back and I'm going to get my GED.
Yeah.
What a hero she is.
Well, absolutely.
This inspires me.
And I feel like she always wanted to, but she had other responsibilities. And like a lot of parents, other things are put before your own needs and your own wants and your own wishes until you get the kiddos out of the house.
Yeah,
But
and
she
then
waited.
she has all these grandchildren. Her husband passed away recently, and she's like, I've got to do something to occupy my mind. Wow, did she occupy your mind?
And that was probably the catalyst, her husband passing away. Yeah.
And so she's doing all these studies at the community college, and she's like, to get her GED, and she's like, I love these other students here, my peers.
Oh, my peers.
Yeah.
They might be 21 years old, but they're my peers.
They're her peers.
I love it.
Her classmates, and she graduated. She got her GED, and I'm so proud of her.
You're listening to Rob and Liz in the morning.
His radio.
Quentin Johnston is a star athlete. He played for Texas Christian University, and when the NFL draft happened, what was it, like last week, he went to the LA Chargers. Now, when you go into the NFL, you start getting a pretty big paycheck, and I love that he wasn't talking about, I'm going to buy a big house, and I'm going to get a car, and what he said was he wanted to give a shout out to his mama. So his mama's name is Sherry. Sherry served in Operation Desert Storm, Desert Shield. His dad was also in the military. And he said, here's what I want to do. I want my mama to retire. He's like, basically, she's putting in her notice today.
No way. Oh, good for him.
I think so too. Like he said, I was raised military, so I know a lot about discipline. I know a lot about respect, and I just want to give it back to my parents. So, Mama, you don't have to go to work another
Good
day
for
in your
him.
life. Yeah, so I don't know if she'll take him up on it.
Makes me think if your kid does what your child does today as a profession and made oodles amount of money for you to retire, what would they do? I would tell you that mine, Eli, he's an Xbox fiend. He wants to be a professional Xbox player.
Does he really?
He said, hey, Dad, when I make it big, he's 14. When I make it big, I'm going to buy that fancy bike you want.
And that's so sweet,
Yeah.
though, because he's thinking of you. Even though he wants to succeed in what he loves, he's thinking of dear old dad.
For Scott, it's what that your son does?
My son, he's 11, into Lego. I'm thinking Lego designer, architect, builder, something massive.
That
involving
would
that.
be amazing. So my youngest son, Hayden, totally into disc golf. So he could be, a worldwide disc golf.
Professional disc golf athlete?
Yes, he could. I don't know how much money they make, but here's banking on it.
Mama will retire.
You're listening to Rob and Liz in the morning.
His radio.
The MLB players last week had some cool bling that he had. So he plays for Milwaukee, and he had some cool bling on. It was a little different. So I see, because I'm used to watching like the Atlanta Braves, and I see like Acuna wearing these big, thick gold chains. This one was a little different. I think it had like a plastic backing or something. It had little stars on it, had little hearts on it.
Sounds like a child made this.
His daughter.
That's sweet.
Her name is Ren, and he was wearing this for at least one game, and then the next game, and then the next game. So I don't know how long he's gonna wear this necklace from his daughter.
I would cherish it.
Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, so it's like a choker. And I mean that it lays very, very close to his neck.
Mm-hmm.
He's an athlete, neck's a little bigger.
Of course.
And I'm afraid that if he strains to try to hit a home run,
Thing's going to pop on him?
it might pop. That's what I'm afraid of. It hasn't yet, so hopefully it won't happen.
I feel like Scott, our news guy, had a bracelet from his daughter one time.
Yeah, about 7 or 8 years ago. I don't know if you remember the trend where the kids were making these, they had the little rubber bands and they would make the loops and all kinds of like necklaces and bracelets. But she made me a bracelet. It was red and black because I'm a Georgia fan. So she made it for me. And I wore it for like a year or so before, the bands started breaking.
One of my kids made
it was
me
sweet.
a ring out of bread ties. You know the twist ties for bread?
Yes.
Yeah.
How did that work? Like
Very easy. They took it off the bread, said, "Here, Dad," and put it on my finger.
But you know what? Still, when they were making that PB&J, they thought about you.
Oh, you know it. And I wore that thing for a month.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
I had so much going on this weekend. I didn't get to watch one of my favorite shows, Live on Patrol, and because I love to watch law enforcement in action. It's Rob and Liz in the morning, his radio.
I think Liz would have liked this if this would have made it on Live Patrol, but there was a 911 call. This was near Jacksonville, Florida, and it was a brawl. I mean, it was pretty intense, too. It was in neighbors' yards. These two were going at it all over the neighborhood. Finally, the deputies show up, and they were able to separate the two goats.
Oh, that's...
Because it was horrible to see these goats in action.
It was goats?
Goats. The animal goats. Not the greatest of all time fight.
Okay, but they had to
The
break up.
neighborhood brawl. It was literally two goats that got loose from somewhere, and they were going at it in this neighborhood that they went from lawn to lawn to lawn, and finally the police were able to come. They literally wrangled them up with leashes and brought them to jail.
You know, law enforcement never knows what they are going to have to deal with.
No.
Like they hear there's a fight going down. Oh my goodness. And they scream out that way and boom, it's ghosts.
My oldest Wes and daughter-in-law Brittany are both police officers in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they've ever seen anything like this.
Or at least they haven't shared it with you. I bet
Not
they've
yet.
seen. And there's been some crazy stories, I'm sure.
But not goats.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Liz said she's creeped out a little bit about this, but I think it's kind of unique. It's Rob and Liz in the morning, his radio.
I'm creeped out for sure. Don goes to his mailbox one day, probably looking for, a letter from maybe a friend, or maybe he's looking for the junk mail. But instead, he reaches into that mailbox, and there's something weird in there. It's a couple of dolls and a couch for the dolls. And so he's like, have no idea what this is about, but there is even like a little sticky note, like a Post-it note, and it says, "We've decided to live here." That's the part that freaks me out.
That's funny.
Like, I don't think so. So it was signed almost like by the dolls themselves, Mary and Shelley. I don't know if you know the person that wrote Frankenstein.
No.
Her name is Mary Shelley. So I'm freaked out.
That's
like
why
on
she's free. See, I never would have put that together.
like a whole different level.
So wait. The story goes on.
Yeah. So a couple of weeks goes by, and I guess they keep the dolls, he and his wife, and so goes back out, kind of the same scenario, goes back out to the mailbox, reaches in, and there's some more things. There's like a pillow. There's a couple of little accessories that go along with the doll. An end table. There's a throw rug. Like somebody wants these dolls to live in high style.
Yeah, I mean, it goes on for months, and so it turns out that there's a painting that shows up, a wood stove on the inside. They're living rent-free in the mailbox. I think it's cute.
Well, you can think it's cute.
I do.
Think, like, they still don't know who put them out there.
It's a neighbor having fun with them.
Is it
Come
a neighbor
on.
having fun with them?
Isn't there like a roof on the mailbox now?
I mean, there's a little bit of everything that they're trying to. You know what? I would not put it past these two to say, I need a Ring camera because I want to find out who's putting all this stuff in there.
No, keep it such a mystery.
Oh, no, I would need to know.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
So Planet Fitness is doing it again for the high school students. Mm-hmm. So they're giving away, just for the summer, free membership.
Yeah, and it goes from like next Monday, a week from today, through like the end of August or something. But they can sign up. If they're under 18 years old, mom and daddy's got to sign off on it, or the guardian in the family. So, yeah, I think it's awesome because, during school, they have physical education. When they are in the summertime, not so much. So it's got to be up to them to get up and work out.
Yeah, and so about 3.5 million took advantage of it last year. I don't know how many times the students actually went and took advantage, but at least they signed up for it.
Yeah, and it's an opportunity. I want to say my oldest son did it a couple of years ago, like the
Really?
first year they offered it. But I love when companies do things like this. You have like free bowling for kids through the summer, through a couple of different leagues or lanes.
Then
or
you got the
whatever.
cheap movies.
You got the dollar movies, which is always phenomenal. I mean, so there's programs out there. We just have to, it was always up to me to sort of research that and find out what it was.
Yeah, then there's expensive ice cream.
Well, yeah, but at least you can afford it then.
You're listening to Rob and Liz in the morning.
His radio.
Oh, I'm so happy. Considerably warmer this week. It's Rob and Liz in the morning. His radio.
That's unless you have to take a trip to Michigan because they have snow in May. Snow in May.
I can't even.
I know, that's crazy to think. Now, the Upper Peninsula is getting some snow in May, which makes sense. Marquette County doesn't make sense which is like in the middle of Michigan.
Okay, I have
Yeah.
no bearings on anything about Michigan.
Okay, here's one thing that Liz needs to learn, and that is holding up your hand as if it's the mitt of Michigan.
Okay.
So if you go close to where your thumb is, but on the other side of your thumb more towards your finger, that is where Detroit is. In the
Okay.
middle is Lansing. If you go up near your pinkies, that is Traverse City. If you go way up to the top of your middle finger, there would be the the UP or the Upper Peninsula would be off to the left of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that does make sense that the guy that's the highest, the Upper Peninsula, would get. But still,
Yeah, but it goes on. You'll need another hand to make the Upper Peninsula. So never mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I tried.
but where it's cold, you get snow. But is it in May?
In
normally?
May, I know it's crazy in May.
You have
let me tell you,
family there.
summer. Yeah, I have in-laws there,
Yeah.
but let me tell you, summers in Michigan are amazing because it's so much cooler than it is down in the south.
See, because Rob is from Florida, he likes the cooler weather.
I do.
And see, I'm like, that just no. If it's July, I'm going to need it to feel like July in the
Yeah.
South. I'm going to
She
need
wants
100
it-
degrees.
She needs 105.
You're listening to Rob and Liz in the morning.
His radio.
Hey, by the way, text the word summer right now to 800-447-7234 so we can get you signed up and registered to win the trip to Universal Studios. But here's the thing. The Fun Patrol is coming to you to sign you up.
Which is super cool because, sometimes you get the link and then you forget. If you're anything like me, sometimes you forget. But when you see the His Radio Fun Patrol out, then you can just walk up and get registered to win this trip for your family to Universal in Orlando.
So the His Radio Fun Patrol is going to be at Mayfest coming up this weekend. That's in Bluffton. And then downtown Greenville with Brandon Heath doing a free concert next Saturday. And then after that with the Blowfish in Lexington County.
So a little
right
bit
after
of
that.
everything.
Charlotte Nights on Sunday, June 25th. I mean, all summer long, I see in July in Gastonia. Rhett Walker's doing a free concert at a Presbyterian church in Murrells Inlet.
That's going to be so much fun.
That's in July. That's a part of the best summer ever. The Columbia Firefly. I mean, the list goes on. We'll be hanging out in Fayetteville and in Raleigh and
Festivals and concerts.
the
And
best summer ever for sure.
And then somebody, maybe your family gets to go to Universal Orlando just for getting signed up. But if you want to do it right now, text the word summer, 800-447-7234.